Hello everybody and welcome back to another Planet Zoo video today where we will be creating a habitat for ducks. Well, I call them ducks. This is, obviously you're probably aware that ducks are not in Planet Zoo, so this is a modded animal, and if you want to download this modded animal to put in your own Planet Zoo game, then you can do. The link for it will be in the description down below. In that description down below you will find all my social medias as well as a link to my Steam Workshop. So if you see what you like, if you see that you like what I'm building today, then you can get it and download it and have it in your own zoos. But yeah, let's talk about the idea behind this habitat, shall we? So basically I kind of wanted like an authentic looking British pond slash lake. No, we'll go with pond. Yeah, pond's the correct word. If you live in Britain, if you live in England, then you probably are aware of these kind of setups when you go to your local parks and stuff. There's a local park just down the road from me, and that's where I took most of the inspiration for this creation. And there's a lot of duck ponds, swan ponds, goose ponds, stuff like that, with mixed in with authentic British looking buildings, so a lot of red brick and copper roofs. And I've never actually created something what looks like authentically British before in Planet Zoo, so it was interesting doing this, and I do think it comes out looking pretty good as well. You can see me just mapping it out here and just trying to figure out where I want the path, where I want the water, different height levels to the water as well, and trying to bloody figure out this painful path system to be able to create a narrow bridge over to the main building. Now this is going to be a walkthrough habitat. I believe the modded duck mod is based on the peafowl, meaning that if you do download this mod, you can set it in a habitat which you can walk through, which is exactly what I wanted really. I wanted our guests to be able to access this building, go across the bridge and you know, interact with the ducks, because that's what you would get in real life basically, just adding a bit more to that realism aspects as well. Right, this main building, after the bridge was complete, well, the fundamental part of the bridge, the actual path, and the water was in and the path was in, it was then time to turn to the main building, which probably was the most difficult point for me because I didn't really know how I wanted it to look. So I kind of just went with it and kind of just tried to wing it. I did look at some reference images, and like I said earlier, there's a local park to me what has a lot of red brick buildings, so I went to my local park with my little lad. I've got a little boy, if you're unaware, he's absolutely adorable. But yeah, I took him to the park, and when I was there he was like, "Dad, what you doing?" I was like, "Just looking at this red brick wall, don't mind me." Honestly, when games like this what help you get creative, the only problem is when you're out in the wild in society, and you know you going sightseeing and stuff like that, or you just go into the local park. In my case, you end up looking at buildings and looking at different foliage pieces and thinking, I could build that in Planet Zoo. I should build that in Planet Zoo. Honestly, I'm going to start taking a notepad and pen, and when I'm out, just writing ideas down for Planet Zoo. I know this probably sounds very sad, but you know, it's something what I enjoy doing. I love playing Planet Zoo, and I love, you know, being able to get creative and recreating stuff I see from, well, real life. You see me just adding the copper roof here now, and you've obviously seen me play about with this a lot, and like I said, this is probably the most difficult part for me. But when I got the fundamentals in, this is how it looks. We've got a little clock tower in the middle. Let's add some windows and some doors. Hey, let's add some foliage as well, some under the window foliage. Add a little garden to the front. Might as well add a little like pier, would you call it, like a little boating docking area. Added a load more foliage, and yeah, it'll come out looking pretty good. Now let's talk about the fence for the bridge, because all the time I was building that building then I was just thinking, I need to move on to the fencing and the bridge. I need to move on to the bridge. What am I going to do with the bridge? So I created this like this rustic like cottage looking fence, and once I had one piece of the fence, just had to duplicate it over, rotate it slightly so it's matching the length of the actual bridge itself. As you can see, I've changed the path as well, and I've added some of those rustic wood pieces where it looks like the wood has kind of like torn away and come apart, and the paint is peeling off. I love pieces like that, especially when you're creating something like a cottage or kind of like a setting like this. It just works really well. So just placing that all around the woodwork what I've previously placed. You can see I've changed the path as well to add it to that the wood path. I just thought this looked like the best path. I did play with the idea of creating a custom path over the bridge, but I thought it looked pretty good how it is. So I thought, right, Adam, leave it. You don't have to do it. Just sit back, relax, and you know, don't get too stressed with it, because this was one of those creations where like I had to keep coming back to it, I'm not gonna lie. Right, the back end now, and I wanted, which I always include in my builds for some reason, in my habitat builds, leave a comment down below. Do you create waterfalls a lot? Don't know what it is with me and waterfalls lately, but yeah, seem to be addicted to creating waterfalls. I didn't want a big waterfall. I wanted it to look like it fitted in with the scenery. Added a load of more reeds, foliage reeds and bits in the water. Again, adding different kind of rocks as well, 2 different kinds, giving it that more realistic feel, and it just looks better adding 2 different shades of rocks. Adding the water in to create that water fountain, just leveling it all out, making it sure it looks, you know, looks fit for purpose, so to speak. Adding the bottom, and then we do something different what I've not done before, and I didn't know you can do, so this is a bit of a tip for you. You'll see me in a minute placing some rocks. The rocks are out of the aquatic pack, and they are the little rocks what kind of look like stones slash pebbles, would you call them? I don't know, I can't remember the actual name, but in fact if you just go on rocks, they're one of the first rocks, and you can see me using them here, and yes, you can recolor them. Now I don't know if this is me just being stupid, I never knew that these rocks can be recolorable, and by God, it's changed my life, because now I can have rocks the same colour as I have the normal rocks and make it look like kind of stones, pebbles, you know, coming out the ground and giving a different dimension to everything really. And you can see me here, I'm just playing about with them, just lowering them a bit, increasing the height of some, tilting some ever slightly, just trying to give it a bit more depth and a bit more like the water fountain, just create some kind of stream at the bottom and send off into the main body of water. And once that was complete, it was time to move on with the rock work and the foliage. With the power of editing, let's add some rock work and foliage, shall we? And there we go. There's all the rock work and all the foliage in. And by God, you can see why I've skipped it. It took me a hell of a long time. Using the same rocks and the same foliage I've used, just basically copying it over really. You can see I've added some gates as well. These are from the European pack. And some more of the pebble work, and just these grass items are perfect. Just increase the height of them a little bit so they're poking out of the stones, and it just looks more realistic. Now moving on to the main building again, moving back to it and creating kind of like, what would you call it, a custom roof, a custom piece to go in between the original piece and the tower. Ended up building a bell tower. You might have seen it from the little section at the beginning, giving you a run through of how it came out looking in the end. But yeah, and it was a bit fiddly. I ended up using these rocks. I think these are like, you know, the very authentic British rocks. They're not out of the European pack. I think they actually came in base game. So you have got these, I think, if you've not got the European pack, of course. But yeah, for this build, I did use a mixture of the European pack pieces and the base game pieces, the authentic British pieces. I think they're called classic or classical pieces. And the European pieces and classical pieces, as you can see, and this is witness to it, this creation, work really well together. Like, I'm really impressed how well these pieces come together, the classic pieces and the European pieces. So just look really well. And this really comes to show when I'm building this tower here. Everything just gels and works well, and I was really happy with it. And then it was time to get even more fiddly, and obviously these are at an angle, this roof part here. This spot's going to actually be the bell tower. So created like a custom roof with some metal pieces, lined them up. And it just looks like a bit of an overhang for the roof really. And then created again, these are out the European pieces, the European pack should I say. Like little pillars rotated them around. Once you've got one side, you've got all the sides. I say it all the time. All it's about is duplicating over and rotating it. And again, creating kind of like a little balcony area so it looks like it's actually functional, that you could get up in this bell tower and ring a bell if you wanted to, that is. Personally not, I'm a little bit scared of heights, I'm not gonna lie, it is one of my fears, even though I have jumped out of a plane. But yeah, I was petrified, but I did it for charity, so it's all good. Another custom part of this roof, I wanted to create the dome, and I used this using the same metal pieces I used previously, recolored them to the same colour, grouped all them together, lined it up so it was in the middle, and then raised it up, and boom, you've got a custom roof. Domes are quite easy. There's loads of tutorials on creating domes in Planet Zoo. I do it all the time. I don't even think I've got a tutorial, but there's loads of really good creators out there who've got loads of tutorials how to make domes. And I wanted to fill this in a bit and just make it look a bit more solid. It looked a bit flimsy. It didn't look like it was functional. So I added, again, European pieces, you guessed it, in there again, creating kind of like a little gap between this dome roof and the pillars, just making it look a bit more secure, and again, just a bit more realistic. If you think about realism in Planet Zoo, then anything you create will come out looking pretty good. I did look at a couple of reference pictures online on just Google Images. I just googled authentic British bell towers, and this kind of look came up, designed it and made the colours my own, and boom, you've got a bell tower. See, I just duplicated that roof as well and switched it around and made it to the top part as well, give it that more symmetry. Added a bell, added a little roof, and then it was time, well, after I figured out how to use the roof, but then it was time to, I thought this dome just looked a bit, not simple, but a bit plain, if that makes sense. It didn't look like they had any supporting beams, so it didn't really go with the realism aspect. I know I keep mentioning realism and making sure it's realistic, but to me it's very important. And obviously, take it from me, if you do this in Planet Zoo, your builds will look amazing. Honestly, I'm not saying my builds look amazing, but I think they look pretty good, right? Drop a like if you like this build, by the way. If you like this creation, and you are interested in other Planet Zoo videos, then hit that subscribe button if you've not already, and hit that like button. But yeah, just creating like kind of like structural safety here, really, kind of like these beams going from the middle down to the base of the roof to look like they hold up and keep everything secure. And I always say it, once you've got one side, duplicate it over, move it over, rotate it, move it back in, turn it round, and boom, you've got what you want. And there we have it, guys and girls, it is complete. You can see our ducks are in, but bear in mind this is a mod and it's a little bit glitchy, so yeah, let's take a closer look at them, shall we? There are our lovely ducks. This one looks pretty good right here, I tell you that for free. Look at that beautiful specimen. Look at that. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of that. There we go. That's one for the Twitter, by the way. Links in the description if you want to follow me on any social media. And then we've got two just chilling here. Oh no, we've got three chilling here together. That one's upright, looks a bit weird, I know. Remember, they're not going to be perfect, they are mods, but the mod community and this mod in general does an amazing job. Again, if you want these mods, link in the description. But yeah, it is complete. It's ready for our guests to come in now. Our animals are in. We've got our lovely staff walking about. And we created this little entrance here for obviously our guests to actually get in. And they can go in and they can go inside the building. So let's have a close look at this building in all its glory, and there we have, there's that dome which we created, which was the last thing we created. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I have left this building empty, and the reason for that is if you do want to download it off the Steam Workshop, you can put whatever you want in this building. The access area for our animals is in here, and they can get through a little gap what I've created in this bush here. So your guests can interact with the animals, and you can put whatever you want in here. I'll just give you a quick look. Look, it's just an empty building, really. But you can put shops in here, you can put a little cafe in here, you can have the tables in the conservatory. Yeah, I wanted it to leave it to the person who downloaded it their own you know, their look, what they wanted it to be and wanted it to function as. Well, as for our habitat, it looks pretty good. We've got all the foliage in, really happy with the foliage. Did add some extra bits like these lilies here and little like details like this rope here as well. And that is everything. So I hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, then like this video. My name's Adam. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next Planet Zoo video.